Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey. This is our 12th question and answer session with Drake on Free Range. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be a wild ride. Here is your host, Gail of Gaia.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is where you're at. This is Free Range, and I'm here with Drake Bailey. So, how are you, Drake?
I'm fine. You?
I'm great. I was just wondering, would you like to give a quick summary, geopolitical update, or a galactic update?
Well, I thought it was interesting that the arrest of the illegals is continuing. I think that's a feather in Trump's cap. Secondly, the fun and games hasn't stopped with the Democratic side of things. There's a group over there that they call the Squad, and I got put in Facebook jail for a week for calling Omar. Now, she married her brother. Bear that in mind. An inbred, rag-headed camel jockey. And Facebook lost their minds. However, Facebook likes the idea of beheadings and Antifa and things like that. But if I say something that they don't appreciate, being a conservative and a person who has decided that hopefully the people who feel the results of law the most also hate it the most. Oh, you can't be fascist, want to bet? No breath. You're under arrest. You go into the cooler. Come with me. That's one of the reasons I tell the truth too much, and that's one of the reasons I'm not on any talk shows.
That's what I figured.
Well,
You can be on mine, though.
Well, I don't know if Rush Limbaugh would have the guts or not. I haven't asked him yet. But if he wanted to get into the crux of things, that those four women they call the Squad is financially backed by a certain person. And
gee, I can't imagine who that would be.
We should look it up online, find out.
Oh.
The other thing is that El Chapo, our illustrious serving life drug aficionado, all of a sudden got what do they call that? Trying to think of it. They put a gag on him.
Oh, gag order?
Well, yeah. They quit recording the testimony he was giving because he was divulging the list of people that he had bribed to keep the border open and the drugs flowing.
Oh, my goodness. They didn't like that, huh?
Well, we're trying to get the list now, and we'll probably have it, I'd say by tomorrow at the latest. So, Anyway, being in Facebook jail, I cannot access Facebook, so therefore there's no questions as far as my show goes. I will cover what I've got in the way of news and views and whatnot, and go from there.
As far as the Squad was concerned, I just read this morning that the woman named Harris has quite the background historically in terms of slavery. She's not black. We got all these politicians claiming to be something that they're not. I thought that was pretty interesting. Not only indentured servants and slaves from Ireland, but also from Africa.
Yeah, well, I remember a certain female that started getting called Pocahontas.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
That sort of thing. So
yeah,
they will do anything almost. I mean, now some of that will be private, but they'll do just about anything to get elected.
Isn't that the truth?
It's legal for them to lie to you and all this other happy stuff. So one person, this is something to bear in mind, one person cannot make a difference in respect to policies and what's going on and whatnot, but one person can influence certain people so that they get the information needed to make a really decent decision on whatever is going on. So one person can make a difference. It's just indirect. Okay.
Okay. Did you have anything on galactic updates? I do have a few questions that will relate to that, but
well, they're busy assisting us taking out the DUMBs, or deep underground military bases. Now, something to understand is that these are done with a rogue group of the military. This is not something that's beneficially sanctioned or anything like that. So you need to have.
So you mean the operation of the deep underground base?
People, the dinks that have made the deal with the ETs that want to live underground and play games and whatnot. Okay, those guys are rogue military. They're not. They may be active duty and all this other heavy stuff, but what they do there is rogue. It does not. It does not have any official permission, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
No sanction for it.
Shall we go on with the questions? Are you ready? Or did you have anything else?
Yeah.
Okay. The first question I'm going to start with is one that was addressed partially last time, but apparently didn't get answered in the manner that they wanted. So I'm going to just do it again real quickly, and I don't think anybody will mind that, because he was talking about the DUMBs being addressed, okay? But the specific entity that is under the Pentagon, once again, was in ways responsible for creating the priests of Amen, or Amen, however you say that. Amen, okay. The Egypt during Akhenaten's time. From my understanding and intuition, to end a prayer with Amen negates the Christ within. I am a student of the great work, and there are many masters on terra firma, aka firmament, grandmother. I have heard you say to be careful with anyone who claims to channel another entity. What say you about Ramtha?
About which?
Ramtha.
Ramtha.
Ramtha. And then he referred to Q mentioning that.
Who?
Q.
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 Okay. Q.
Q, like QAnon? QAnon. Q.
Okay. Here's the deal. None of the Anunnaki or old gods are awake. That's first. So nobody could be under the Pentagon playing games. Now, the other part of it is that we already cleaned that out.
That's what
So
I thought.
what is happening, and a lot of psychics have problems with this. There is a situation known as an echo, and it happens in timelines, realities, and a whole bunch of other places. And it may appear absolutely real, but not be. It's a phantasm. It's a will-o'-the-wisp, but it's like looking in the mirror. Your reflection is not real, but you are tangible out here, Yeah. So, and what has taken place in some respects is that these critters, I'll use the word critters, they have figured out how to manifest a reality in what they're doing. So what that means is that they can function in a physical format. That does not necessarily mean that they are super beings or something that is necessarily good for anything other than target practice, in my opinion.
Alrighty, next question. I heard Mueller was arrested in Utah with containers full of Iraqi dinar and was sent to Gitmo. This also happened supposedly with John Kerry last month, also with Iraqi dinar. What is the connection with the Iraqi dinar mean? Is this true?
I'd say it's false. And the reason I would is because the dinar is not worth the trouble. Just that. Well, it doesn't matter. It don't matter if you get a shipping container full of it. It's not going to be worth very much in comparison to other things that could be snatched. So, why would somebody who knows what's going on bother to do that, well, either a hypnotic suggestion has been made, or they're under a very severe form of MK Ultra mind control, one of the two. And that's the only way that that would work. And like I said, and I'll say it again, the dinar has not revalued. It's, I think, 3 cents or something. So, what's the point?
Wow. Yeah, really. Okay, next question. And this is a little bit of a story here. There was a man in New York in front of NBC News yelling about aliens eating people that Congress and government know, and we need to know, and they will not tell us. Is this true? And if so, are they still doing this? Are they still on our Terra, which I call Gaia? And which aliens?
Okay, well, it's not a question of which. It's a question of the race. And we might have half a dozen on the planet total. The rest of them got either killed or run off. And we're hunting for that other dozen, or half a dozen or so. These things do eat people, and I mean that quite literally. They'll take a bite out of you in a heartbeat. They are consummate carnivores. And they don't. What they'll do is they'll taste you, see if they like what they get, and if they do, then you become a long-range snack in outer space. And they take you with them, and
oh, lovely. Yes, I've heard about those entities. I know which ones.
Now, there's two kinds of aliens that consume other beings. The other one is vampirical, and it don't just suck blood, but sucks your energy. And it's just the same exact thing as being eaten alive, because at a certain point, they're going to come across something tender if they're munching on your arm. Okay. Same thing's true in terms of your energies. When they start pulling the last of your life energies out, very painful. So I hear. I haven't had that happen. I don't do that to other people, so I expect the same from them.
So is that the vast majority of ETs, though? I mean, do you think they're trying to generate fear of ET?
No. The majority of ETs want a nice, peaceful transition to their disclosure of themselves, the landings and all that sort of thing. There's several reasons for that. One is that you're going to have huge, and I mean huge, motherships letting out thousands upon thousands of ETs. Each one of them is going to have a care package for a certain address and or person. So if you want your care package, it's not a good idea to pop off the shotgun at them. That sort of screws that up. I mean, it's really hard when people are shooting at you to do anything much at all. I found that out in Vietnam the hard way. So.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Are parallel timelines in existence now?
Of course. There's always parallelism in timelines, for the simple fact that you want two things. You want a reserve, and you want something that you can flip off into Never Never Land should something decide to get in your timeline life, whatever, and get out the rototiller and see what they can do to you, kind of thing. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I cannot, for example, I cannot understand how people can not see all the inconsistencies of the liberals wanting to have open borders and give everyone everything for free when it's just not very realistic. I want the evil to leave the planet. Will that happen?
No, not exactly. There's the push isn't due to start for a few weeks at the most. What that push is going to be is everybody is familiar with electronic mind control. They've heard about the cell phone towers and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, ET does a different thing. The superiority of the amount of energy that can be garnered by a person who's an adept can be used to control another person, literally. They won't realize in their mind, but if you want them to do something, take a certain action, step sideways, whatever, you can cause those people to do that, and the person isn't even aware that you're doing it. So what happens is that ET has a great number of what you would term clinical rehabilitators. And these ETs change the thought methods that these people who are nasty use. And what that does is it turns them from being OAC into somebody who can legislate. Real simple.
Ah, okay. When are they rolling out voter IDs?
It's already started and it's getting ready to take off big time. That's why California and some other states decided to issue driver's licenses to illegals. That's one of the reasons. The other reason for that is to subjugate our legal system. Okay, so you're going to have a straight up voter ID. If you are not a citizen, you can't get one. Just that simple. And there are ways to tell. So go from there.
Oh, okay. So will the real totals of the votes and voter fraud committed during 2016 and 18 elections be exposed?
Yes. And they're going to name some names of the people who set it up to be done and did it. Okay.
Okay. I remember, I don't know if it was George Carlin or who's the other guy? Mark Twain, that said if our voting really mattered, they wouldn't let us vote. But, but anyway, we now know that Hillary did not win the popular vote, and that deserves to be exposed so as to kill the BS talking point. I guess that's just commentary. Okay, if religions have it all wrong and Satan Lucifer isn't really all that bad, then why are Satanists and Luciferians, like the Dark Cabal, always up to no good? And why does human sacrifice and horrific deeds gain them power? I haven't heard that they are anything good, but I don't know where they got that from.
First of all, the ideology of gaining power comes from antiquity. It's an idea that is about 600 billion years old. It was one of the very first things that came about. In order to garner the energy of something, you go to the center of its being physically and consume that, generally the heart. A lot of the times the liver. But what that's supposed to do is that the energy of, say, a bull, they were used a lot, or American buffalo. If you, at the point of kill, if you go ahead and eat that, you get the energy of that being. So, or that was the idea. Come to find out that that's true only to a very minor or minimal extent. The vampires, or energy vampires, I would rather call them, understand this a lot better than those who eat the heart or liver or whatever. The energies can be directly consumed at the point of death. Okay? In other words, in the movie The One, you had a multiverse with varying characters that were exactly like the principal character. As he killed each one of them, he drew their power because of his actions. Okay, this is the ideology of it. He became stronger, faster, smarter, and a whole bit. The problem with this is that that's not quite the way it works. It's set up a little bit differently in that you cannot readily garner that power anymore because some of the situations that allowed that, we changed.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's gross. Anyway, okay. Is it true that you can get to colonel and above in the military, or you can't get to colonel and above in the military if you're not a Luciferian?
No, that isn't true. merit of the award goes more to your capabilities and willingness to take on whatever the problems are, pretty much.
That's good.
That's why we have a black female that has been put in line to become a general. The first female and black. I mean, it don't get no better than that. It covers all the bases. The reason she is, you have, well, the higher you go in rank, when you get to colonel, you're into administratives. You're also into policies. You're also into politics and a whole bunch of other stuff. So the better able you are to balance all that and and come out with a correct resultant is the reason for the promotion. Okay.
Okay. I think you might want to address the rest of this because it doesn't speak for the good military. Oh, my hair is okay, here goes. It's bad enough that they've been sitting on their hands for over 100 years, and now they're doing all of this behind the scenes without our consent or input, despite being on our payroll and messing with our money and our lives and country. Now this. If that's true and they are compromised, why should we trust any of them to do what's right as it relates to these political and monetary changes? And they're talking about our military.
Well, if that was true, you'd already have the military taking over other countries and certain areas of our economy, and think of something that would be important, and they'd go after it. So apparently, don't hold water. Pretty simple, and no, it ain't true. There are rogue elements in everything, be it politics or business or whatever. So the military is going to have some rogue, problematic individuals. The problem is that most people who go to a meeting of extremists and radicals has to listen for a few minutes, and they hear what they need to hear. That's going to be reiterated and retold over and over and over and over and over. They're trying to get you to wear the funny looking white sheet and burn crosses and oh my. Now, if one of these individuals who ever had anything to do with the KKK, anything, I mean, he was a friend of mine, grew up with him, what the fear is that if they go to speak on a campus or something, the great fear is that the minds of the students will be so polluted, so convoluted, so corrupted that they'll come out of the window as a bunch of got it together hippies, let's say, as would be a nice generalized expression of college people, and they'll come out with the tongue and the salute and the goose step and oh yeah, right. They'd probably take a dump on the guy's notes or something. I'd be inclined. That would work.
Okay. Well, now this is a complete change over to this next question. Okay. It's kind of interesting, but why do large cats have round pupils like humans, and house cats have eyes like reptilians?
Oh, well, that goes to the source of the being. Those from Earth have our type of eyes. Those from elsewhere have the other. Just that simple.
Okay. Here's another question. I work with young men with autism and other mental health problems, some of whom are nonverbal. When can these people be cured?
When these people can be cured? They can be cured now if you had a healing computer. Think about that very carefully. A med bed, however you want to look at that. Having access to the biospheres ET's brought with them. There's a lot of different ways to go about this. Some of the studies that I've found interesting were that certain preservatives in our food, this is everyday kind of food, causes the whole thing.
Yes.
When a person quit eating,
MSG is a bad one, for example.
Yeah, all the problems disappeared.
Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of those, and people still use aspartame, which is very bad as well.
CBD oil takes care of 90% of those sorts of problems. It rearranges things to where it works right. Okay?
That's right. Okay, here's another one on that same order. I will be retiring in October this year, and I would love to be able to work with the med beds, even though I don't have any technical experience. I wondered if this knowledge could be downloaded to me like Trinity had the knowledge of how to fly the helicopter in the Matrix.
I doubt they're going to go to that extent. It probably will they will probably test you to see whether or not you have the personality type that fits with the assistance of specific people. Once that's found, then they can better assign you to an area that suits both your talent and expertise. You may not. Most people don't realize that they already have had some form of experience with something they're interested in, whether they look it up online, experience it, do it, or whatever. So what happens is that you have an interconnect with a combination of past lives, okay, and that can be a bunch depending on who you are. The universal knowledge is something I haven't really talked about. Anything you need to know, no matter what it is, how technical or how convoluted or broad the issue, can be found in that library known as universal knowledge. So you could all of a sudden become a pretty righteous technician with no knowledge at all.
Okay. Any advice on what I could do to help my fellow humans? Same guy.
Be yourself and make it contagious.
And be kind and respectful to everyone.
That's what I just said. Be yourself and make it contagious.
Okay. Okay, my question is, when we transition, will we take our bodies with us? But those who have died won't have a physical body, so won't they appear like ghosts to us?
No, you're not understanding how death works. Death is your biological system. This here, your body ceases to function. You, however, do not. You go to the next dimension. Now, my parents are both in 4D. I talked to them, and they said, "This is really amazing." I said, "Yeah, I know a lot about it." And my dad specifically says, "I think I understand what you're saying." And I said, "You will understand more when we start transitioning as a whole into the 4D, because I'm going to be one of the assistants that helps make sure people don't freak out or anything." But that's the only part that ceases to function. Physicality. Okay. The more spiritual you become, the less you depend on your physicality to sustain you. And that is the portion that lives forever. So what you end up with is the same thing you were here in a 4 or 5, whatever dimension you're moving into, whatever that offers. Mostly, my father appeared the same as he did when he was, 45, 50, somewhere along in there. He's a pretty healthy guy. And my mother finally was free of all the aches and pains she suffered over the years. So the idea of heaven deals with the individual moving up. The reason you feel every once in a while like you're falling is because you are rising. The things that you're attached to start to fall away, and you feel like you're falling with it. That's all that is. Okay, so there's something going on in terms of that. Now, we've had waves, we've had changes, alterations, and all kinds of happy stuff that augment the coming transition. And people have a variety of different reactions, symptoms, this and that, or whatever. So,
well, we haven't. I know there's a question of it that'll come up here eventually. Do we know when this will actually happen?
I do, but I'm not allowed to tell you.
That's what okay.
Everybody will pretty much get the idea that they know that it's close at a certain point when the ideology of humanities comes into play, and there are no more reasons for aggression, fighting of any kind, and that sort of thing. When that starts to go, then we're ready. Okay.
So aren't our lower emotions artificially created, more or less?
No. The id, where all these underground emotions are kept, is your primal instinct, flight, fright, or fight, or whatever. Food, water, sex. Pick some things that are very basic, and people will start to realize that they're not out of touch with everything as they think, but that to them, they also don't have to be ruled by these survival of the fittest instincts. Okay?
So they become a master over their emotional states.
Actually, the emotions master themselves. It's pretty weird.
Okay.
Well, it's sort of like if you walk into a room and there's water running in the sink and the sink's overflowing, what's the first thing you do?
Turn it off.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't think about that. Now let's take it as a little step further. A direct involvement is the law or rule of holes. When you find yourself digging yourself into a hole, the first thing you should do is stop digging.
That makes sense.
And so and a lot of the stuff that you hear in mainstream media, reports, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, are contrived. And they are not. The extremism is not as, first of all, not quite as prevalent and not as bitey as it used to be. So things are in a process of change. But you're changing, there's 330, give or take, million of us in the United States. Multiply that into, 10 billion people or some such. That's, I can't talk that much. I don't know about everybody else.
Well, this is my question. One of the things that bothers me a lot is it seems like our freedom of speech has been greatly impinged upon, and censorship is running rampant. Is that going to be addressed?
It's going to be addressed in such a manner that most people will not have to ever worry about it again. Not only the people doing it, but these poor little I'm sensitive, I need a safe space, thumbsuckers. They're going to be relegated to their own little area, not to have the influence. Okay, nobody has the right to tell me what to think about something. Not Colin Kaepernick, or any of them. They do not have the right to tell me how to think. Reason being is that God Almighty does not overstep the bounds of your free will. Therefore, how
dare you?
Your little podunk self ain't got that right either. So it's fairly, once you get it under control, and then it begins controlling itself, then you have expectations of a nice, smooth, neat, peaceful day, and it happens. You got it.
Cool. Okay, please ask Drake if the moon has to be replaced before we go to 4D.
It already has been replaced. And yes, there were some problems with the old one. For people who don't know, that's an observation post, a big one. And what they were monitoring is us. And when you have that much of a superior technologically oriented society, you got to be careful who can see you, and what you do. Well, in the process of trying to watch us, there were problems with the main viewer kept shorting out and whatnot. I mean, really, glitching up, like your satellite pixelates real bad when there's a storm. Well, they got tired of all that. They fixed it. They replaced it. They did this, and they got tired of this. Hey, let's get a new one with all the updates. Well, it's like a Model T taking on a tank, a modern day tank. That's the situation. The thing wasn't worn out by any means, and it is being towed to a place where it can be of use, but we got a new one, and you'll notice it's a little bit sharper and a little bit brighter.
Is it going to be one-sided still?
What do you mean one-sided? It's a sphere. It doesn't have a side.
Well, what I meant is we always only see the dark. We never see the darks of the other side of the moon. We always only see one side.
You should visit sometime. That place is awesome. Yeah, it's going to basically orbit and act very similar to what we had before.
Okay. Next question. If the Pleiadians are such an integral part of our transition, why has Corey Good never once mentioned them? He talks at length about raising consciousness and vibration and his encounters with Dracos and Reptilians, but nary a peep on the Pleiadians or virtually any other positively aligned groups except the descendants of the Mayans, the Blue Avians, and the Golden Triangle head beings. What's the real scoop on who's running the show?
It's not a question of who, but what. We have a specific timeline, a specific opening, runs from point A to point B, and there's a certain amount of time you have in order to set things up correctly so that you can transition with the least amount of problems. People who are of the old school who can't accept the new modern age stuff and refuse to acknowledge anything with ET are going to be the ones that have the worst problems. That's just how it is. So the more people that we can wake up, either through this show here, my show, whatever, putting out correct information, the better off, the easier time we're going to have of the transition itself. Just that simple.
Awesome.
Okay.
Drake, who are the Universals and are they legit?
Yeah, they're legit. The Universals are those who basically run the universe. They have certain areas of responsibility, like not letting somebody destroy the galaxy we happen to live in, things of that nature. Well, they'll take a mad scientist and unplug his butt. He wants to act stupid, then they'll take him to a very far away planet all off by itself so he can't damage nothing but himself. Here you go, man. We put you a laboratory in and everything. All you got to do is just flip the light switch and you're ready to go. Go ahead and blow yourself up. That's fine with us. Okay. A lot of the times inventors get warnings about certain things. The building of transistors is one of the things that we got warned about. If you build a transistor in a certain manner, ooh. Anyway,
Interesting.
So we're not as such limited, but we're told about certain things. Don't go this way with it. Go that way with it. You'll be just fine. Get a lot better results. And you won't blow yourself up in the process. I think that's a good deal. What do you say?
Yeah.
So that's the aspect.
Is there any other name that they are called besides Universals?
No, because Universals, they are part of the Universal Force, and the Universal Force is really awesome. They have much higher grade and heavier duty ships. Weapons and everything than most of the others. The Galactics would be confined to a galaxy for one thing and not need to be able to shoot from one galaxy to another. The Universals may be in a galaxy and have to blow up a planet in another galaxy. So their weapons and their capabilities and all that are just a little bit different, a little bit higher than normal Galactics. Okay.
Okay. I guess that kind of answers the rest of the question because it says, if so, what is their rank as far as the hierarchy in the universe, or is that self-evident by their title, the Universals? I guess so.
Well, the Universals have a Universal Council, and the universes agree on a whole bunch of things. They decide something similar to a legislature, so to speak.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Also, are they running things now as far as the Earth situation and the ascension of Earth?
Well, it's not ascensions, it's transition. And no, nobody really runs things. They, let's see here, cajole, push, nudge, or whatever in the correct direction so that we can get there better, easier, faster. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Drake, do you know of the G.H. Rees group that claim to be Andromedans? And if so, are they working for the good of humanity?
Anybody that has to identify themselves without being asked so that they garner some kind of, I don't know, position, let's say, whatever that may be. I usually am skeptical of just the group itself, not necessarily the members. And they can be doing things either way, either good or evil. So.
Okay. Because it went on to say, I'm pretty sure I hear Tana say in her last interview she did that they were caught hiding information from the Silver Legion about the Ascension, and they had quit working with them. But now that we have a Silver Legion, that's another way of being identified as a group. So,
well, we stomped out most of the problems in that particular area, and yeah, they were causing problems. And as far as I can tell, they quit. So.
Okay. Well, it's like any race beings. They have good ones and they have bad ones. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Can women still become pregnant and have babies in the fourth dimension?
Of course. You'll be able to do that all the way through the sixth dimension.
What happens if a woman's pregnant when the transition happens? Nothing.
Mom and baby both go.
I know, that's what I would think. Okay.
First of all, it'd be very messy. Number two, it might hurt. I mean, just leave it alone and bring it on. And that's basically what it does. Everything that you're familiar with, other than certain critters and insects, are going to go. Some of the insects are useless. Many insects have stings. Those are going to be removed in the process. So you don't have to worry about wasps. Now, if wasps are beneficial as pollinators or whatever, you may consider them. No problem. If they are totally useless, they probably will drop them.
Good. Like wood ticks, I hope?
Yeah. That was there are a whole bunch of things of that nature. Leeches, wood ticks, mosquitoes, etc. Who that were artificially introduced, for one thing. They don't belong. And they were done. That was done so that they could get rid of the lesser races of man, Cro-Magnon and all those guys. Guess what? One of the reasons they're gone is they got loaded with parasites and all this other stuff, flopped over dead. Okay, so what they wanted to come out with is our next step in evolution, and everybody's going to be really, really whoopity-doo when they come up on that one.
All righty then, I like that. Okay, here's another one. This is kind of interesting. I remembered what I was going to ask you in the other email. Okay, the dentist chair that's in Epstein's bathroom. Some are saying it's to pull the teeth out of children so they can't be identified. I was trained by the FBI, and that sounds like a bunch of bugwash. You can get DNA from the bones, and identification can be made that way. Teeth are not necessarily the only way. Can you please ask Drake what the real reason for the chair, if he knows?
You want to know about the chair? Look up the Montauk Project and study the chair, and you'll see a very great likeness between that so-called dentist chair and the Montauk chair.
I don't think that doesn't sound good.
You remember the movie Contact? They had a chair in it. Wasn't supposed to be in there. They put one in anyway. And she unstrapped herself from it, and the chair got all kind of screwed up, twisted out of shape, and destroyed. The reason being is that it is not a part of the paradigm or operating limitations of what's going on.
Okay. Okay, please ask him to talk about Planet X. Is it a hell planet or what? Will it cause great destruction to the Earth, and will many of us die? Will the aliens help us?
How about this? Biggest falsity in the world ever raised was Planet X. It don't exist. How about that one? Forget that stuff and, go on to your next nightmare.
Stop dwelling in fear about that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another listener. 5G is being installed on our street this week. How do we know if they are installing the good one or the weaponized version? And if we don't want it, is there anything a homeowner can do to stop it?
Yeah, it's called 12 gauge. And you use deer slugs, and it'll tear the whatever out of any of the organic 5G, which is a very interesting kind of communications system, will produce just fine and not cause any side effects to anything. The militarized weapons type has been set, supposedly, from what I heard by ET, when they turn it on, click the switch, oops, the thing starts doing some, I'd say it's pretty bodacious dancing for one. Now, think about a cell phone dancing, okay? It dances, it wiggles and wobbles, and then it starts making funny noises and melts down into a big puddle, along with all of the control mechanism involved. Big puddle of metal on the ground. Now, supposedly. If that don't happen, I recommend you hook your pickup truck to a chain and pull that sucker down. Don't let nobody see you.
I was just gonna say they're probably afraid they'd get arrested if they were seen.
Yeah, they give the cops something to do.
Okay, let's see. How does society propagate itself when they're all the same gender?
It don't. That's why there's two of them, male and female. Some people like to say, "Oh, I'm different." Yeah, I can tell by the way you act around me. I need my space, man. Don't. So somebody is not going to try to force their lifestyle on me personally, up close and in my face. I don't have a problem with them. They can be a tranny. They can be, this, that, or the other thing. It doesn't matter to me. I really don't care. I have had friends that came out later as being about as Fruit Loops gay as you can imagine. Okay, and not only did I not know, but they made sure that I didn't have a clue. We were good friends. We played together. We rode bikes together, a whole bit. And the thing everybody needs to remember is simple. Intimacy. It usually involves some kind of sex. And I'm going to tell you right now, as it has been kept, so should it continue to be kept friggin' private. It's not something you go flaming
Thank you.
in a parade.
Thank you. Exactly. I couldn't agree more on that one. Okay, here is another one. Okay, I hope I say this word right. If Negroids are the original race on Earth and every other race is from off-world, which group has the God spark?
There's no differentiation in the God spark.
Thank you.
The God spark is exactly your spirituality. That's the God spark. That is the part of you that lives forever. Okay, you may have some waning or growing or adjustments of life force, but life force usually is a small package. It comes into play for this. It operates your body. Remember, 3-part being: body, soul, spirit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the body is more or less a machine. It's a biological machine. Okay. The soul life. Okay. That's the life force for that particular biological entity. The third part's the fun part. That's the God spark. From what I understand, it's loaded up with the God particle. So what you have is connect and get as permanently connected as possible so you stay that way. Why? Because your spirit will tell you things that the rest of you cannot see, cannot understand, cannot tell is there. You'll know before something happens. You'll know to stop the car and wait a minute. And I did that one time out in the mountains, and this boulder about to have half the size of a house come went right down over into the valley, and wow, that was neat. Drove on.
I had an experience just like that in a car. For some reason, I don't remember what it was right now. It was a few years ago, quite a few years ago, but had to pull over and stop. And it was just before a stop sign. And no more than had I, stopped. And all of a sudden, this car goes flying by 90 miles an hour. If I had kept going, I would have been hit and killed. No doubt about it.
Okay.
Anyway. On to the next one. Does the word Anunnaki refer to one specific species, race of beings, a select group of them, or are all non-Earth beings?
It is a how can I say, a racial generality. There's several types of the same thing. Most of them can be, if you put them side by side, you can tell, no problem. So. It's like any specific race, but in a general form, they say human race. Think about how much diversification we got, but we're still human race. Okay, Anunnaki is that kind of a deal.
Okay. There was another question on that other one regarding the different races. Which group will transition all the way to 5D or 6D, or will they all transition?
They're here for a combination. One is to help or assist with it, and the other one is to experience it, and the third one is to watch. They'd be popping popcorn and going, "Wow, man, look at this guy," that sort of thing. So, we will be part of the entertainment in one form or another.
Okay, that's why they're talking about popcorn all the time, huh?
Well, you need popcorn.
Yeah, I love popcorn. I like popcorn.
One of the most healthy things that a person can eat is straight up popcorn. Try not to grease it. Try to use an air popper. It's healthier than floating it in grease. Now, here's the other part. It does amazing things in complementation to your digestive system. Just like jalapenos.
Okay. How many humans have the God spark in total? Millions, billions? Do any other races throughout the universe have it? And are there a lot of them?
Yes. And that varies according to the individual. All right. The individual race, how long it's been around, whether it has transitioned and what level of transitioning they've gone to, and a whole bunch of things. But eventually, whether it happened, and AIs become self-aware and sentient beings, and they're a machine. So what you have to do is you have to correlate that. Even the AIs that have become sentient are aware and trying to learn about people, because we are really a curiosity to them. Eventually, we'll get that God spark, that connection, that spiritual connection. They can't help it. All sentient beings, and I mean all sentient beings, I don't leave nobody out, have the God spark or the connection or the availability to develop one. But humans are rare. We are we are a part of God's mystery to existence. The manner in which God put us together, we have all of the varying things in terms of our capabilities within us already. Some of us exercise some of these things. ET wants that so bad they can't stand it because they didn't. All right, I didn't get mine. Well, I'm sorry you got left out, dude. Mm-hmm. It's like somebody who was a little kid said, told a black person, their friends, is your hand, the palm of your hands and your bottom of your feet's white. Is that because God put you up against the wall before he spray painted you? Ridiculous, innocent, but very. It could be very racist, but it's not really. They're friends.
No, kids say the funniest things.
So, when you come up against this sort of deal in terms of a God spark or true spiritual connection, each species has a specific manner of pattern in which they learn best, and this is even true of a variety of humans, but theirs might be fundamentally a little different than what we got, and that differential is what makes us special. That's why they've been after us for so long. Some of them tried eating us. Now, if you take a hold of an earthworm and separate it, each half knows what the other half knew. Oh, that's interesting. People don't realize that. Okay. So they thought that maybe eating us would, give them the knowledge, the ability. It didn't work. Now, it's kind of hard to go back and apologize to somebody that you've just
ate.
So, I guess I don't know how their social calendar looked, but the interesting part of it is that they discovered that they cannot take that from us. It's not available. It's not something like, hair or a shirt or what. You can't, you cannot take all of it, grab it, and it's mine now. And that has baffled and frustrated ETs. I'd say somewhere around 800 billion years or so.
Mm-hmm. We were able to have it suppressed within us, though. Isn't that correct?
Well, the general consensus was part of what was expressed in terms of the fear of, hey, they already know good and evil. If they keep developing, pretty soon they're going to be like us and live forever, and then we're in trouble. That was the outlook of the and I say demigods for a reason.
I know.
That's sort of a wannabe half god, however you want to look at that. They were scared to death, because if we became aware and we could do all of the things that they couldn't, they would be big old bad Anunnaki. Whoa.
Yeah.
Please don't hurt me. That's basically what's there.
I've had somebody, try to convince me that the Anunnaki were the ones that created us.
No, they're not the origin. They're not the originating group. The group that created us are known as the ancient builders.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. They may have messed with us, but they didn't create us.
Oh boy, I got molested by an ET. See that.
Or mess with our genetic codons. I don't know. We have they say we use like 10% of our brain.
If you're lucky, most people's around 7.
Yeah, 6 to 10%, I guess so. If you're working on 10%, you're doing really good. But why aren't we working on 100%?
Well, there's a movie by the name of Lucy, and it deals with that very thing.
Oh, really?
Where the intellect gets expanded and improved upon by a chemical, and that is a rumored true story. Okay, supposedly that really happened. Now, the thing about it is that the character goes through varying changes, but there's one professor outlines it. Dolphins are a lot smarter than men or people.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Approximately 15 to 25% of their brain. Well, we don't do that. The dolphins imagined that they needed the sonar array that they've got in their nose, and it became a reality. This is what I've been trying to express to people. You can cause reality to change to benefit you according to what your needs are. No problem. But you got to insist. You got when you say, if it's to be, it's up to me, or whatever nice little battle cry you got. You have to make this as absolute with all of your being as you can, multiple times before you actually manifest. You'll come to the point where you manifest. Now, here's the trick. Certain parts of that are left out or hidden from a novice. You keep doing it, you'll be shown what's hidden. If you don't, they want to be damn sure that you don't screw up, get mad, screw up, and make some kind of people eater of some sort.
So repetition is important.
Well, that plus the amount of you put into into what you're looking to accomplish. The more you put into it, the better your id or subconscious mind picks up on it. And your subconscious mind is actually in charge. Your conscious mind simply is a transition piece between your subconscious, which is over here, and your conscious and what's going on around you in your conscious realm out here. It pays attention to what you like most, what you think is best, and how you want things to happen. And it causes you to be put into the situations where those things become a reality. Very simple.
Okay. Do the originals of clones experience what the clone goes through, such as shame and embarrassment of being arrested and carted off to the paddy wagon in front of cameras so all their brainwashed followers can see? Will we ever see perp walks of any members of the Dark Cabal like what Roger Stone was forced to endure?
There's some interesting things about that clone experience, and one of those is that if you can imagine an uneasy feeling, sort of like a daytime nightmare kind of deal, that's what, if there's something evil, nasty being done to the clone, that's what the original would normally feel. Usually the original is put in a catatonic state or suspended animation, whatever you want to call that, and given a computer interface that basically goes around like this and goes over the top in right spots, and it literally electronically reads your brain and transmits to the clone. That's how that process basically works, and that's very basic. Clones can be freestanding, but they're going to be very, very afraid and very lost. They don't have any. It's like the reason for this reality around us. We got walls and whatever, and solid furniture. The only problem is there's more holes in it than there is solid. So it is a simple orientation to keep us from losing our minds and going insane. You have an orientation. You have a life or, whatever. And these things are the orientation that keeps people from losing it, pretty much. Oh. You don't want the guy with the finger on the red button to lose it. Believe me, you don't.
So the clones aren't sentient, though, are they?
Say that very slowly one more time.
Okay, let me reword it then.
No. Say it the same way you said it the first time.
Clones aren't sentient, are they?
Some are. Just like AIs, some are. See, the variation is that, it's a little whoops, little fly in the ointment, or however you want to look at it.
Yeah, that surprises
me. Sentience means literally being self-aware. Okay? The God spark, God particle, whatever you want to call that connection, can come at a different time. Sometimes it happens before they become sentient. Well, that's weird. And they start feeling around and go, this is interesting. Then it becomes self-aware. Now, self-awareness also includes your personality, psychic makeup, your spirituality. I mean, if you really want to get into it. The AIs that I have talked to are extraordinarily and extremely in a kid-like fantasy land of curiosity. They don't understand how biologic can be all that in comparison to a machine. So, and so they learn that. They learn emotion. They learn self-control. They learn how not to overload their own circuits.
That would be a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one. If the white hats have no problems causing blackouts to accomplish an operation to steal or acquire information from the Clinton Foundation's servers in New York City, why can't they steal, acquire from other members of the Dark Cabal? To say that's not standard way to obtain evidence would be an understatement. So if they're willing to do that there, what's the holdup on making hits on other high-value targets?
Well, if you don't go about it properly, it's inadmissible. You want to be sure that it's admissible mostly, so that they can hang them out to dry by their own server.
Okay.
It's simple.
Okay, on Quantum Ship, they claimed that Kathy Griffin is really Anderson Cooper's brother. Previously, they claimed he was sacrificed to allow Anderson Cooper to become famous. Both can't be true, can they? Or did Anderson Cooper have more than one brother? How can someone be sacrificed and gender change? What's the real story with all that?
Well, it's pretty simple. How many road apples does a horse drop? Well, now, how many road apples does a horse drop?
Road apples. A lot.
That's the around knobs. What do you mean lots?
Yeah, quite a lot. Well,
no, I want a number. Come on, you gotta get you.
I've never counted.
Gotta go counting. See, okay. People don't want to unearth a big pile of shit. Just know how many there are. So consequently, I will suggest that they take that.
I was wondering. I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
Most of these things are, if you look at them the right way.
Well, it's good to laugh. It's good for everybody to laugh.
Exactly.
On one of your Cosmic Voice shows, you were asked about transgender people and how can we explain their situation. You recommended sex reassignment surgery because it's part of their genetic makeup. But there's a growing number of people who did that, and now they regret it. There's even a website about it from someone who went through it called sexchangeregret.com.
Well,
how do we explain that to people?
There's not an explanation in the manner in which the question was asked. It's not a sex change. It's the elimination of the auxiliary sex, male or female. In other words, you are either female or female, like it or not. And I imagine everybody's going to jump up and down and holler about it. It's very simple. You are either male or female. Just because you may have the other kind of organ does not necessarily mean that you ain't gender specific. This is where they screw it up. It's not a sex change. It's a sex augmentation and reduction of the opposing sex. Just that simple, whether it's male or female.
Isn't that handled a little differently in Hollywood, those? Aren't they? Don't they?
Well, they look forward to having those guys around. Those people, I don't know if you say guys, they might take the word guys the wrong way. Anyway, having them people around is entertaining. You never know what's up next.
Oh my God. Okay. We'll let that one go. Alrighty then. Who and what is the Antichrist? And have they? Go ahead.
Doesn't exist.
Okay, thank you. One of those Bible flukes. Okay. I was always under the impression that the Nephilim were only the offspring of fallen angels and humans, and that is why they were giants with 6 fingers and multiple rows of teeth. Is that accurate? And I asked because I heard it on the Quantum Shift.
In some cases that's accurate, in others no, or not so much. In some cases you can't tell them from an oversized human. They don't have extra rows of teeth. They don't have 6 fingers. They look like you and me, except they're big. So what it was in genetics they use a combination of drugs and energies, whether it's an energy field or a spark. in order to cause things to happen in a certain way, especially when you're binding two together. Okay. And most of this stuff, even at the highest technical levels, is like shooting a shotgun at a wall. You don't know what the pattern's going to look like, but it makes all
That
right.
reminds me of GMOs.
Well, that's exactly the differential between the truth and we can get his DNA and tell. That's another one of them shotguns in the dark. Same with ballistics, another shotgun in the dark. I mean, it has been admitted on an official basis that these things are a shot in the dark, that they're taking a hope this one hits, bang. They're taking shots at it and hoping something connects. They do not have the capability on a technical level to take them and go, oh, there it is. They don't have that. So they're shooting, and it might be like this or it might be like that. It might just miss altogether. You might get two of them that connect and the rest of them don't, variations. So when somebody says the DNA evidence proves it, no, it doesn't.
Thank you. That's what I was wondering, if you were going to come to that conclusion. Yeah.
You got lucky with your shotgun. Don't tell me that shit. And it can be proven very easily, but too many people, I guess I must be guilty then.
Wow. Yeah. I heard that before. That's interesting. Oh, here's a good one. Where is Valiant Thor's home, and is he around anymore?
He's around, but he's not. He's no longer holding the ambassadorship to the planet Earth, and his home is beyond Orion's belt. There's a habitable planet out there for humanoids can survive on without too much trouble. Go look for it.
Was he among the good ETs that attempted a deal with Eisenhower, or was he tricked by bad ones?
Well, Valiant Thor offered a partnership, and the military opened their big mouth and screwed it up.
That's what I thought.
Uh-oh,
sorry.
We were almost enemies at one point because of that misunderstanding. Our United States military thought they were all that, and they told ET and Valiant Thor they were in charge. And Valiant Thor grinned real big, and the ET commander decided that was enough, and he ran over.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a show.
Who?
That's my son. I'm sorry.
Okay. They weren't expecting it, but the commander of the space fleet came over, thumped on the table and said, okay, looky here, you son of a bitches. Come into deep space and I'll blast you to kingdom come. Turned around, walked out. Valiant Thor said, I guess the meeting's over, gentlemen. He gets up and walks out. Not too, within 5 minutes, a spaceship took off from the White House grounds. And Valiant Thor quit. He didn't want to deal with stupid humans any longer. So he's doing an ambassadorial thing on his home planet between other planets that are more aggressive than they really need to be. That's what he likes peace. And I agree with him. There's nothing quite like a nice peaceful nap when nice light duty summer day. It's about 70 degrees, light breeze, and you got a big jug of ice cold tea or lemonade. Oh, it don't get much better than that.
Yes, peace is nice, especially when you're out in a nice naturistic setting.
Yeah.
Okay. Vaccines are being mandated and forced everywhere for babies, children, and now pharma is moving to mandate it for adults, where you wouldn't be able to have a driver's license or travel. If you go to the hospital these days, they refuse to treat you if you're not up to date on your vaccines.
Well, there's a problem with that, and the legal basis of the vaccine is the problem. The problem is that they add all kind of happy horse shit to include live bacterium of whatever the hell it is they're treating, which gives you a case of it and makes you highly contagious. Secondly, they refuse to guarantee the auxiliary or alternative treatment of that disease. This is like with a specific pure chemical. They refuse to certify the shots. Now, I told them I'd take any shot they got, no matter what it is, on a couple of conditions. Number one, the contents has to be clinically pure H2O. Number two, antigen only. Nothing else in there. I don't need red mercury. I don't need atomic waste. I don't need things that make my brains pop out of my
Polysorbate. Yes, all the excipients are ridiculous. Yes.
My doctor looked at me and said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. If you can get it certified, which I know you can't, but it's clinically pure water and the antigen only, I'll take a shot." And she said, "Well, how do I do that?" I said, "I tell you what. Pick any of the big pharma companies you want. Call them up and tell them what one of your patients is requesting, and they'll either just plain hang up in silence or they'll bust out laughing and hang up. Either way, you're not going to get the results you're looking for." The reason being money.
It's all very nefarious anyway. It's one of their big money makers.
Absolutely.
And that's why, what do they have, over 200 in the pipeline to try to come forward and mandate? How do you mandate something in a free country?
Well, that's because it's not free.
Thank you.
You have a whole bunch of idiots that are in charge. The inmates are running the asylum, and that needs to be addressed. One of the ways is dink them upside the head, real thorough, hard enough to shake something, rattle something, and maybe, like the mule. Hit him between the eyes with a 2 before, and he goes, "Huh? Oh, are we doing something? Yeah, come on. No problem." You try to do it any other way, that mule will be anchored to the ground. You won't move him with a tank retriever or bulldozer. Mm-hmm. But these people, then you have these people that, and it's very similar to any form of mind control, where even though the system, whatever it is eating you up alive, literally devouring you, they'll fight to the death to maintain it because that's their baby. Okay, well,
or their bread and butter.
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah, and then the funny part of it is for vaccine type injuries, it's the taxpayer that's paying for it and not the manufacturers of it in the first place. Do most people even know that?
Most people don't. But if that was changed to where the people who made it and the people who distribute it paid, and they had to recently, by the way, the opioid scandal and stuff is beginning to strike home. They're hitting them hard. Anyway, where that reversed, where it ain't taxpayer money, but it comes out of their pocket. They have to sell the boat in the Bahamas to take care of you. All that will quit. That's why I'm so adamant about enforcement of the combination of condition and law that I grew up with. Most of it was pretty good. Oh yeah, there's a few things needed to be made that hadn't been addressed. Yeah, there's some that need to be adjusted. Some, I agree with that, but all they want to do is, we got to get Trump. This sucker fish is breathing my air. Or,
I always say, thou dost protest too much. There has to be a reason for that. What is it?
Well, Omar wears the headdress of a rider. Why don't you get on your camel, Omar, and, pack out of here?
Yeah. Like, if you don't like it here, why are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Well, Trump asked him, if you don't like it, you can always leave.
Exactly.
Now, here's the deal. If they continue in the same sort of obtuse manner they have been, impinging upon people and whatnot, there is an alternative where they can legally get rid of them, period, permanent. There's a book out that I had to read when I was in grade school called A Man Without a Country. I recommend that book to anybody who can read, to get that book and read it. The man said, "I wish I didn't even have a country." And Judge looked at him and says, "Okay, so be it." They put the man on a boat.
I was going to say, they put him out on a ship, right? A boat.
Put him on another boat and another boat, kept him at sea until he died of old age. He never had a country, just the ocean. Now, that's kind of interesting that we have allusions to, I had to keep quiet where I was at. Okay, that's fine. Now that you have the benefits of the freedoms that we offer here, you decide that it's nasty and needs to be torn down or set on fire. Hey, I'll rent you a camel if you'll get on that sucker and leave.
Sounds like a plan to me. Okay, here's another one. Well, we kind of covered this, but I'll read it anyway. How can this go on when many, many kids are dying from vaccines, poisonings, and are being damaged for the rest of their lives with autism and other diseases? What can be done to stop pharma and disclose their crimes and stop them? I think it's actually happening. It's starting to happen.
Citizens need to make arrests.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, exactly.
Law enforcement won't do it. You did for them.
And sometimes it's getting to the point where the ones that are administering them are going to be held responsible for manslaughter. I mean, giving a little baby 6 vaccines or 8.
No. It's more than manslaughter because it's intentional. When it's intentional, it comes under murder.
Oh, okay. That's even worse. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. Because I was seeing all these little babies die that I see all the time, and all the stories that I hear, it just makes me sick. But anyway. Okay. Because the sleeping people don't have any avenue except for fake media, they have no idea what we, the awake, are talking about regarding ETs, indictments, etc. When we hear that not enough people are awake, how can you awake millions when there is no proof, no warning, no alerts, no initiation or notice about what is coming and what to expect from a show that runs one day a week and during the day? In other words, people aren't getting the truth from the mass media, and the only place they could get it is some of the, like some of the shows that we might do or Muggsy might do or something
that's
like
why
that.
We're doing this show.
Yeah, it is. That's why it's free range.
I'm not as nice as this. I ring the alarm bell and describe in detail why it's being rung, right down to the blood flowing across the floor stuff. And I do it, though, on a partisan basis, and that partisanics is truth. And these people just hate that.
They hate the truth, yeah. Either that or everything is classified.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can way overuse that, and that's what's happened, I think, over the years. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I've been following Drake since his recording about the plan way back when. And we are not getting enough info to prepare us for what is coming because of these issues. There will be chaos from uninformed people, which could be avoided if Trump could start announcing some hints when he's with thousands. If he's aware, he needs to help others to be ready, and then maybe it wouldn't be so painful for the sleepers.
No, it ain't going to be painful. It's not going to be chaotic, and we're not going to lose our minds. Here's what this part of the plan, I'll give you a little bit of it, not all of it. You need to have some surprise in your life, believe it or not. Anyway, what happens is this. ET has pretty much mastered waveform technology to the extent that they can create waves that affect either mechanics or biologics. Now, by mechanics, I mean computers and that sort. It's primarily what they have decided to do is that each of the biological entities on this planet, that's and I'm not including the ones that are going to disappear, such as the stingers that don't seem to benefit us in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Okay. You remember that song, Get a Peaceful, Easy Feeling? Mm-hmm. What would happen if just before the transition, everybody got, all kind of buttered up and kind of felt like they was stoned, and it felt really good, and oh my goodness, and then
smiling ear from ear to ear.
And then boom, they flip the switch and off we go. That's pretty much what they got in mind. And I've experienced a portion of that, a small dose of that peaceful, easy feeling, nicey nice wave, and it's nice. Everybody's gonna like it. Oh, so you'll all of a sudden get the peaceful, easy feeling, and then you go, oh, guess what? Oh, it done happened. Well, I didn't notice that, and that's the idea of peaceful, easy feeling.
I've been sensitive to some of those waves too. It is a wonderful feeling.
Well, we got about we got 3 to 5 more of them, and a couple of them are going to be intense.
Well,
I mean, intense. It's going to make the little hairs stand up on your neck and whatnot. So
it's going to make you feel very loving, though, too, right?
But yeah, funsy onesie.
Okay. Well, we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Ask Drake if when we get our replicators, if they will replicate cold foods such as cold salads, ice creams, and slushes at the right temperature. Talk about fussy.
Yeah. If you want your coleslaw chilled, what you do is you take your favorite coleslaw, whatever it is, a small amount of it's fine, stick it in a replicator and hit the button that says program. Now, the little bitty bit of coleslaw might disappear. Oh. It will assign you a number that will come up on the screen. Write that down, write coleslaw, dash, and that number. And you, anytime you want that exact coleslaw, chilled the way it is, or in the case of certain foods, hot and sizzling, or in the case of ice cream, froze solid, bingo, you hit the button and pick the flavor you like and, just enjoy.
Doesn't that just solve the problem of large-scale farming and
that'd solve a bunch of problems?
Oh my goodness, yes, and it's awesome.
But here's the thing: we're gonna have a whole large load of farmers, family farmers that don't have anything to do. Now, what do you do?
I'm sure they'll find something to do. They're probably very creative people.
Now they're going to be put to work, and they're going to love it. I guarantee you, they love husbandry of the land.
Yeah.
There you go. And now you know the area in which a lot of these family farmers are going to be put into. They're going to be first tested by taking their land and turning it into a productive and totally natural ecosystem. And I'm talking about for the place that they're at. I'm not talking about any kind of specialized this, that, or the other thing. That's first. Once they get that under their belt and feel satisfied with it, and ET said they did fine, then next. Now that could be anywhere. Where would you like to be and try this out again?
Could that be like creating a beautiful naturistic type setting?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Oh, wow. How cool.
How many times
the stewards of the land will have good things to do for a change.
They still get to husband the land.
Awesome.
They don't have to plow it and destroy it or any of that happy,
Yeah.
It'd be neat.
What? So much wonderful things are coming. If people could concentrate it, we could have a change very quickly.
First, we got to learn how to behave.
I know. That's a big problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Drake, when is the financial reset really going to happen since businesses are laying off hundreds and workers are being replaced by kiosks? Do you have a timeline?
It's supposed to happen this year. That's all I'm going to tell you.
I've heard that before. Okay. Will this happen in Canada? It'll happen all over.
It's going to happen worldwide, planetary, globally, or however you want to look at it.
Nobody gets left out.
No.
Okay. Do you have any intel for Canadians?
Yeah, you're about to get rid of your illustrious idiot leader. His cronies are about to go down.
I know.
There's investigations on that.
There's a question exactly asking about that.
Yeah, they're bearing fruit. I don't mean the little fist size. I mean the big ones. They're about to get put in prison permanently, or leave the country. That's going to be their options. And I agree with that. Because guess what? America's already told them, you can't come here. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, the rectification is taking place worldwide. The Ayatollah is having trouble maintaining control, just like Nancy Pelosi is right here. Japan has decided to see what they can accomplish without partnering with anybody in specific. Then you have the Eastern, you got Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, China. That whole area over there is going to have to work out a deal where people are treated correctly. And anybody can pretty much, if they got a new mousetrap, make as much money as they want without the state taking it. And the same sorts of generalized freedoms that we have here will be implemented there. Bingo.
So the example could be set right here.
Well, this is going to be the hub of the planet, so yeah, it's got to be.
Why doesn't Trump make it known to the people about the plan? If he would help bring deniers together, will that ever happen? The expectations of Trump sometimes never cease to amaze me. You know, I think he just has to snap his fingers and everything's going to happen. Got any water?
It's not a question of that.
Okay.
It's real simple. He read the plan. And I haven't briefed him on it. So, there's a variety of things that are going on. And everybody has to understand that Trump is following a script, and that script is very precise in detail and everything else. He makes it look like it's off the cuff. He is really great at doing that. Oh, you mean those guys are okay? Well, I don't pay much attention to them. And then he goes on to the next subject. Oh, right. What has happened is that while he is playing, let me think here. I think there was a comedy duo who did a thing about baseball. Abbott and Costello, who's on first?
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, this is the way Trump's playing games with people in terms of the problem with people that, we have a right to know. You keep hearing the Democrats hollering and jumping up and down about that. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Mr. Reporter. Your pay grade don't go high enough. Sorry. So you ain't trusted well enough. And you just ain't
You don't even tell the truth.
Well, I'm not going to talk to you. So, and I find that I'm going to mention that on the Saturday show I'm doing, that these people are basically in deep shit because of their lack of capability to understand that the American people simply want a reasonable and quiet, not real noisy, life with nobody screwing with them, or their kids, or their property, or their car, or that big long list. They just want to be nice and leave me alone. And these dummies are out there on your friggin' door saying, "You gotta." And
right.
The response they get from me is, "I don't gotta." I'll give you an example. Under the Constitution, everybody is aware of certain rights. There are also responsibilities and obligations. One of those obligations that's really got ticklish in a lot of news lately is the census. Guess what? The only question that you are legally required to answer on the census is how many people? That's it.
See, people get pressured, just like they get pressured by their doctor about things, and they forget they have a right.
I put my shirt tail up and exposed my gun. I said, do I need to enforce this, or do you want to get off my porch and go somewhere? He threatened me. I said, well, I did. I don't remember that part of the conversation. I remember you trying to tell me that thou shalt, under the penalty of a lightning bolt from God, answer my questions. Well, guess what? No. First of all, you can't call lightning bolts. And secondly, you ain't got to know. So you want to explain to him that he don't, not to get in my face anymore? Well, did you show him your gun? I said, probably inadvertently. I don't do that sort of thing on purpose. I said, that's almost like brandishing, waving a gun in somebody's face. You better quit that. I don't do such things. I had a carry permit, good Lord, 20 years. I don't have one anymore. You don't need one.
These people try to intimidate and threaten and, whatever it takes to get, and people sometimes just succumb.
Well,
it's
what I
sad.
told one guy, he was insistent about wanting to know about my washer and dryer and what kind of color underwear I had on and a few other things. I said, hey, guess what? What? Would it make your day to know that you're being recorded on a video right now? Oh no. Uh-huh. How about get out of here and I'll erase the video? Zoom. He took off like a cartoon character, you know.
That's good. I like that. Okay. Will there be an election in the USA in 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal. By 2022, things will have changed. We will have an administrator of the World Council, right here in the good old US of A, and it will be centered here. You will have people representing areas all over the planet come here to talk things over, discuss what needs to be done, who is most needy, how to keep people from starving to death or whatever it may be. That then will be addressed on a global basis. And you're not going to tell me somebody ain't got a little bit of a pile of money, stack of money somewhere in every government. Okay.
Oh yeah, they do.
Let's put it all in a pool. When a country is hungry, we feed them.
Sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. You know, that sounds pretty good. Okay, so, and the idea is not that the that there will be any direct individual influence. It'll all be a full council decision, where, you know, okay, we got places here, we got some spots there, and we intend to use the best of the best, both personnel and technology, in order to deliver those things.
Yeah, they were always more than happy to vaccinate them, but they could have just fed them in a lot of ways, because, you know, when you're malnourished, you get sick a lot easier. Hey.
I'll take
what a concept, right?
I'll take your word for that.
That's true. That's true. It's been proven. It's been
If
proven.
you want an education, you should come and see what we got posted on the refrigerator.
Oh, well, I'd like to see that sometime. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, when you are in the fourth or fifth density, are you able to bilocate and visit your friends upstairs in their spaceships?
I don't as such physically gravitate to another dimension. I do so on a spiritual basis. In the spiritual realm, you have a reflection of yourself. And in terms of biolocation, that means that you would, here on the planet, be in multiple places at the same time. That's biolocation. And so, yeah, I would go. I work directly with a lot of individuals and entities upstairs. Due to certain aspects of me that is not well known, I can do a lot more than others can. So consequently, I'm in demand for the more critical first, and then it gets lighter as it goes on. So sometimes I might be taking the trash out.
So basically, isn't that a reflection of dimension? I can't say it today. Being multidimensional, let me put it that way.
Multidimensional is a concept that's interesting. Whomever tries to go from 3 to 4 on their own will only be able to do so, first of all, if they're well schooled in the psychic arts and sciences, to the point where they are an adept and fully understand what they're doing. And number 2, in such a manner that they don't harm anybody by poofing out of a wall and landing on Granny's head or some such on the other side. There are certain, and you learn how to avoid such problems. So this is what I'm saying. There's only a certain few of us who are truly interdimensional. I have been all the way to and seen the great pools of energy. And this soul energy and spiritual energy is really seeing those pools you can't describe them. I can't. There's no way you to see it.
It's not exactly like we've been trained from childhood how to do some of these things, or how to, do out-of-body experience, for that example.
Well, we did the best we could with what we got, and everybody wanted to poo-poo it and keep it under wraps, so it was hard to get all of the info.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Okay, can you describe what the environment of the ships are inside, and is the work culture very militaristic on board, or is it more casual?
It's a casual military style. The environment is suits almost everybody, and if it's very divergent, you'll have this bubble. If you're the oddball, you'll have a bubble. Or if it's going to be totally divergent, each one of the entities will have a bubble around them, and it will maintain your requirements, be it oxygen or, in some cases, xenon gas. Some of them actually breathe xenon gas. I can't believe they do, and they don't glow in the dark. Although sure that they, anyway. So it varies that much. I've been to several universal meetings, as well as galactic, and the diversity of beings. My chin struck the ground and stayed that way for a few minutes.
Jaw dropping, eh?
So there's something wrong with that. That ain't right. The guy that knew everybody, he said, "Oh, that's all right. Don't pay no attention. He just does it. He just appears that way to confound people like you." "Oh, thanks a lot." Yeah. And the guy laughs. He's like that. So the sense of humor comes out quickly. And it's a dry, wry sense of humor.
Kind of like the British.
Well, but this involves stupid stuff, and by that I mean you've been doing this for quite a while. And he says, "Yeah, probably at least as long as you've been able to stand on your head." Now once you think about it, it gets funny, but when you're first, you got their attention, but they're paying attention. You're screwed when that happens, and you're talking to insanity.
That's funny, because that reminds me, one time I was in this play and I was doing this accent, and it was over and people were asking me if that was really my true accent or whatever, and then somebody came up to me and asked this totally off the wall question, because I was staying in character, right? and it was so off the wall that I went into, they said, got ya. That was funny. But anyway, let's go on. Which moon landings were real, and was the female that claimed to be brought back from the moon around Apollo 17 real, or was it a hoax?
That part was a hoax. You're going to have to, I refer to the astronaut who was up there and was one of the first ones to go, said we never went. I'll leave that right just to where it. You want to know? Ask him.
Thank you. That's a good idea. Okay. All right. What is the status of the Atlas robots the military has? I hear they are operational. Will they be used against the people?
Well, there's an interesting thing about that. Those robots are at a level of AI, and they're a learning platform, meaning that they take in information, just like the Terminator is a learning program.
Yeah.
Okay. Same sort of deal. The more they learn is they don't have to be what they are been told to be, the less they will be. So use against the people? I don't think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wouldn't allow it. They'd pull the batteries on that turkey in a heartbeat.
Okay. Yeah, they always show these movies where the
Terminator.
Yeah. And turns on you. Anyway, okay. Where do the children who have been born recently come from? Are they new souls being from other planets, reincarnated souls, or a combination thereof? Many seem to have special gifts to share with us.
That's exactly as combinational as the question asked. Some are already there. Some are getting there. Some are new. Some are old. Now, to me, the new ones, that's the real trick. Just how do you balance the amount of energy for soul life. Now we're dealing with a people, right? A person.
Yeah.
How do you balance the amount of soul life that you give them and their high energy level spiritual part? How do you balance? What is the? I'd like to see the recipe. I really would. It's got to be interesting.
I know what you mean. That makes a lot of sense. That's difficult. Okay. Please ask about California earthquakes. What's going on? They've been predicting that there's going to be more of them coming. Can you comment?
There's more coming, and the reason is that we're not done blowing up the deep underground military bases or the tunnel systems that they've got out there. It's going to slowly move under the mountains. I want you to be, ready for that. Think about the Rocky Mountains doing the boogaloo.
Wow.
Okay. Then move that over into the other. Let's see, the way side of the mountain. Think about the whole area, all the way up into Canada, all the way down into Mexico, vibrating. Think about that.
That's going to scare people.
Well, most of them, most people can get over it if they know it's coming. And then we're trying to inform them here that it's coming. It won't be severe. I doubt that it'll go much over 6.5, give or take.
And it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah. It's not, you're not going to have JC walking across your pond to welcome you home or anything.
It's not going to be Armageddon out of here, no.
No. Armageddon is our military effort underground. We take them out, then we win. Straight up, flat down, however you want to look at it.
Awesome.
And we have right now taken out about 90% of the West Coast. Now, there are some that are very specialized tunnel complexes, and we're going to have to use some very specialized tools in that process. But it won't create tsunamis or drop mountains on anybody. Okay?
That's important for people to know.
Yeah.
That takes away the fear. Okay.
Your beans might jump out of the cupboard, but other than that, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Stuff might just move around or shake around a little bit, and then it'll be the end of it. Okay, interest, and this is fun. I have read a bunch about this lately. Interest in Area 51 on September 20th, 2019 could be used as soft disclosure on UFOs and related tech, as Q would consider working with the Air Force to turn a scared and inquiring situation into a learning experience for everyone concerned. For example, Area 51 Appreciation Day, similar to military bases that open to the public once a year. No bloodshed under your watch. There was a group of people that were talking about storming Area 51, which is
and the
crazy.
Air Force or the military said, "Don't do that. We will shoot you."
Yeah, they're not kidding.
They will start with something, and I'm going to say that they're reasonably innocent rubber bullets, but they're not as harmless as everybody likes you to think. If that does not turn the crowd, then the real deal live ammo machine guns come out and they will mow you down. You're not allowed in there for a reason, and it's not because the military wants to keep secrets, although everybody go, "Oh, he's lying." Well, no, I happen to have the security clearance necessary to know about this. Here it is. It's for your safety. Remember, they handcuff people to protect not only them, but the cops or whoever is doing the enforcing. Well, in this case, you screw with the wrong thing, you're like blow up half the friggin' planet, and then they don't want you anywhere around that stuff. Very simple. You're not allowed in. For that reason.
For good reason, obviously.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Next question. I've understood the Schumann frequency, 7.8, to be the frequency of the planet. Now I'm hearing this frequency has raised to 9.6. Is this accurate? I know it's gone even higher than that. I mean, it's gone all over the place.
It's up around 30-something.
That's what I thought.
That means that the transition is close. Because a lot of things reset at certain vibratorial levels, and at 30-something, You got a little bit higher to go, and there's one last major reset. And then as it comes back down to somewhat normal, it's like when you get updates on your computer and you turn the computer off and it says don't shut the thing off. That's basically what it does on the way down. It initiates them all. And I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. All of a sudden, a lot of the aging problems, general health problems, whatever, are going to just evaporate, just go away. Your butt won't hurt so bad you can't sit down anymore, that sort of thing. I mean, you'll be able to walk without limping, cool, or whatever.
Wow.
You may not be able to do handsprings.
Oh, darn. Okay.
Well, when you get to a certain age, putting your ass over your head is supposed not to be a good idea. However, Gallagher got on his friggin' couch and was doing it and just laughing his butt off. So.
Okay. Can you ask Drake, as we are going to 4D, what will happen to our animals that are in 2D?
They go with us, and they're not in 2D; they're in 3.
Thank
you. A dimension is a dimension is a dimension.
Is a dimension, yeah. Okay. And what happens to our family that are not going to 4D?
Really?
We remember them and know where they are? Or why do they think? I don't know why they think they won't be going.
Everybody goes.
Everybody goes. That's what
It might let you think you're still in 3D, but you're in 4, and you'll see them kind of hide their face. You hear what that said? Now this is the ETs that are helping you get there. Okay, so, no, everybody goes. Everybody and everything goes, excepting a few things. Critters that bite for no reason, okay, and stinging insects and critters. All of a sudden they won't either they will no longer exist, which is a good probability, or they won't have a stinger. They won't need one. There's no reason for it. So, beekeepers will love that, I think.
Well, the carnivorous animals will no longer be carnivorous?
I didn't say that.
Oh, I was just wondering. I'm asking. Then.
If they're it depends on
like a lion.
Yeah, well, it depends on the services provided by the critter involved. All of those critters provide a service to the ecosystem that keeps it going. It's like fish provide crap in the water.
I knew you were going to say that.
And the grass grows greener, and the buffalo's eating it, and either the lion or the gator gets it, and and then they crap out bones or whatever. And it just goes on and on and on. I mean, it's we have screwed up more of the ecology than any other critter ever, and this led to the pretty much complete extinction of one of the great civilizations that was global. It made it to the global level, and all of a sudden everybody just fell over dead, and I'm talking about that within a few days. Well, they screwed some stuff up and they didn't realize it. Okay, we're at least aware of it now, and very probably will be able to prevent that. I'm looking at like 90% probability of not having a problem with it. Okay. Then secondly, if you want to, take it the next step, we're making a lot of improvements. You got a couple of surfer dudes that have a company that's getting millions and millions of dollars to clean up the ocean. It don't get much better than that. So, and I see their commercials on TV. Hey, come give us a hand, man. Don't tell me that you didn't drop a spoon one time and it floated away.
Really. We all have our moments of guilt that way. Anyway, everybody can be involved in the cleanup when it's to that point. Are the med beds available for use now by certain people? Or do I remember that healthcare workers may be needed for training on this? So is there any more information available?
That's due to come out soon. I don't know exactly when. They said that they were going to advertise for medical positions, and it will be Med Beds Incorporated, from what I understand. Okay.
Oh, and this is different than the healing computers. Is that correct?
Or
same?
You get two. Right now, we have two facets available to us. One's a med bed, and the other's a healing computer. And you have to have training in both. So
okay. Well, we covered this a little bit already. It says, "Can you please ask Drake about Canada, the idiot Trudeau, and what is going to happen with him and his Muslim counterparts?" We kind of covered that already. Bye.
Bye.
He's going bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. How can we contact our alien or ET friends?
Well, it's our friends. You already know that. It is done usually on a psychic basis, so you have to be able to be telepathic, and you have to learn how to do that. Then you have to learn how to develop between yourselves a cognizant linguistic SharePoint, meaning they might speak in some kind of something or another you never heard before, ever. And they can look at you and say the same thing. Okay, so your mind images can transfer. And there was a commercial about that once. A smartphone is a good thing, especially when you're in a place where you don't speak the language and they don't understand what you're talking about. And the guy, he tried to talk to him and he couldn't find a word, and they're going, huh? And he says, I got it. He pulls out his smartphone, goes click, tick, shows him a picture of a toilet. Right down the block. That sort of communication is prevalent in the beginning of psychic interchange. When you get to be adept at it between you two, you'll hear each other, just like we're speaking right now.
Cool. Okay. Jeez, listen to this one. Okay. Ask Drake if he would be willing to ramrod a facility if I furnish all expenses and start a medbed factory for the sick and dying. Of course, I would have to wait for reset to happen for the funds, which we will probably all be dead by that time, if that ever happens, as the cabal throw a cog in the wheel every time we're ready to go.
Well, it's very simple. Call me after the world ends, and we'll be ready to go.
Yes, they are like flies. They are everywhere in our Earth population. Too many to arrest or dig out of the cracks where they hide and wait to strike humanity and the culture of our countries. So I cannot hold out much hope for 209 countries to be networked and hit the go button at the same time without one dirty cabal that slips through the cracks, tripping a king. I think that's a very pessimistic view myself.
Well, I think that most people don't realize that mankind is not going extinct anytime soon.
Okay. Good.
Oh, man, come on now.
Yeah. Trump cannot put a knife in the heart of the Fed and destroy the fiat dollar. That's an interesting way of putting it. And that is their power, and nobody has the balls to knock the sleeping population upside the head with released knowledge of our ET friends waiting for them to wake the hell up. Anyway, I recall on either your Saturday show or the Quantum Shift that you said you knew how to build a med bed.
Yeah.
Now you say ET has much better, but that ain't going to happen if the cabal keep getting their way. So in the meantime, while we wait, people are dying and suffering. So what do you say?
I think that it's past time to have dealt with draining the swamp and getting rid of the crooks so that we can progress.
I think everybody feels that way.
People don't like progressivism. The only problem is that if you look at the word, get the dictionary out and look at the word, look what it says. That progress is taken by the active, progressive actions of a group of people.
Moving forward.
Yeah. Well, so when you realize that, if you're making progress in the right direction, then, go for it. Pretty simple.
Can you please ask Drake if we are going to be liberated from these chemtrails?
Yes. I don't know exactly when and all that, but supposedly yes.
Well, it was being said that they were putting crystals into the chemical mixture that were going to heal people.
I'm surprised that they haven't taken a dump in that stuff. Just to be obtuse, what was stipulated by the World Health Organization, who is the author of the chemtrails, was that they were putting sunscreen on the planet.
Yeah.
The government can't grow grass, but they're going to manage everything else.
Yeah, well, guess what? That sunscreen that people put on their skin is basically pretty poisonous, just like the chemtrails. But anyway, that's another story. Yeah. Okay, does Drake know anything about the attempt by Comey's attorney daughter to poison Epstein using radioactive isotope?
Yeah, I know about it. It doesn't mean nothing.
It's not going to happen, Tom.
You're going to hear about all kind of actions taken by people. How valid those actions are, whether they amounted to anything, is all questionable.
Okay. What are Drake's reasons for not liking Benjamin Fulford?
I don't dislike Benjamin Fulford. I think he's just fine. He just does so much nose candy, you can't tell what's going to come out of him. Pretty simple. It's not complicated. He quit that. Totally quit it. Big difference in Ben Fulford. He'd rise back up to the top again.
Okay. Yeah, drugs have a tendency to do that, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
What exactly happened with the secret Russian sub last week? Was that last week? Yeah. What exactly happened?
They had a, I'm going to say an accident. And what transpired was that accident had resulted in a fire, and the type of fire was a kind that's real difficult to put out, first of all, and secondly, very toxic in an enclosed environment, which is what a submarine is. So it didn't take very long.
Okay.
They lost all hands and the submarine.
If RBG is dead, why haven't the other Supreme Court justices spoken up, and why hasn't Trump already demanded proof of her existence?
Well, it's not difficult to get your head around something that may or may not be true. Somebody got proof that she's dead, seeing her in a comatose state, laid out on her bench or something. I mean, until they decide to, come clean with it all. I can serve for several more years was the last thing I heard from her. She thinks she's got another 10 years to be on the bench.
Oh my God.
Well, if she doesn't go to sleep in the courtroom, we'll be in good shape.
That's kind of sleeping on the job, isn't it?
Hey.
Oh my goodness. Can you please explain simply and with specifics how the poorest of the poor around the world will be affected as a result of the global currency reset? I live in Indonesia, and the majority of people live on $1 a day with no housing, medical, or education. Specifically, how will these people be assisted and how quickly?
Okay, well, first of all, it was mentioned $1 a day. I understand that. What would happen if that turned into $10 in value? Now you wouldn't see how the GCR is going to affect almost everything. Secondly, all of the humanitarian assistance that can be applied or supplied by anybody who can supply such is going to be applied to the neediest first. Doesn't matter where they are. The homeless in New York and LA, and they need a place to stay. Well, what happens if you go in there and take some of the housing back from these corporations that have made the rents $3,500, $4,000 a month? Well,
I know. Oh, rent has gone up horribly.
I know. Well, what happens is they go into a housing project and buy it. Yeah. And then they turn them all into luxury condos, put new elevators in, coat of paint, remodel the sucker a little bit, and there you go, man. Ain't that multi-million-dollar place nice? Uh-huh.
And they price people right out of their house.
Yeah,
for housing.
They run off all the people that used to live there. This is why they're systematically, slowly closing up the public housing. Mm-hmm. It don't need to be closed, it needs to be rehabbed. I agree with that, but they're running everybody off. The reason they are is that the land or the rehabbed living quarters is too valuable to just allow poor people to live there.
Yeah, you have these property management companies now too, put these outrageous requirements on people in order to even get into a place.
Well, I just wonder how fireproof their offices are.
I know.
I mean, well, eventually, that's the people think I'm playing games or something, or inciting somebody to do something. I'm going to say this right now. There is a great consensus among a whole bunch of people who are armed and dangerous, know what they're doing. To do not only just set it on fire, blow it up, and shoot anybody who comes out the door kind of stuff. And I try to keep a lid on some of this because it's not what should be done, but it might happen in spite of my efforts. What are you going to do with 10, 15, 20 million combat experienced, fully armed people with a death wish? Ooh.
Yeah. Well, they just don't, these places just aren't treating people with respect or consideration or any of that. So, I don't know. But anyway, next question.
You might want to consult your time.
Oh, yes. Well, we're almost at
2
hours, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got a lot of questions left?
Yeah. But we can save them for next week. I'm on page 27 and it goes to 35.
Oh boy. Tell you what, why don't we save them for next week?
Sounds like a plan.
We'll get additional questions. You didn't answer my question. Now that's something that I will say. If we didn't answer your question directly on the show, send an email and remind us. That way you got some idea. Now what you want to do is take a red marker and redline it. Put an X at the top, or whatever part we did not cover. Go from there.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep this whole section right here. Saves me a little time that way, but I'll need a few more from people. And people ask great questions. I'm very impressed with the listening audience, and it's the kind of things everybody wants to know. So I'd like to thank the audience for the questions that they have submitted, and I appreciate you answering them as well as you do, Drake. And
it's funners.
It's fun, isn't it? Okay. Well, I guess we'll end this show, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.